Hi, welcome to Stellar Yoga. I'm Estelle. Thank you so much for joining me to practice some yoga today. I'm filming this in very early January of 2023, and that's a time that a lot of people are thinking about resolutions or reflecting on the previous year. And while I don't usually make strict resolutions, I do think it's a really nice time to check in with what is working in your life, what things might you be a little bit happier if you remove them from your life, and also to think that this is a time of winter. So this is a time not to necessarily be strict and harsh with yourself, but to nurture yourself, to be kind to yourself. The whole northern hemisphere is hibernating right now. All of the trees have lost their leaves and are conserving their energy. Some of the animals are hibernating, and is a time to nurture yourself, to be gentle. And so this class is going to be a class where we can explore a little bit, but I will also really invite you to be gentle with yourself, to explore what you're feeling today, what feels good, and to not push yourself in a judgmental way, coming from a judgmental place about what you should or should not do, what you're supposed to do, and instead think about what feels good for you and how can you nurture yourself at a time when all of nature is closed down and is reflecting and it's getting ready to have more energy in a few months, but at this point it's resting. So I think we can take a cue from that. And I'm going to invite you to start this class from any comfortable position. If you can find a place where you feel safe and comfortable to practice. And it can be seated on a cushion like I am. Your legs can be in any position. You could also start seated in a chair. We're going to do a lot of warm up and things from the ground. So we're going to be seated and spend most of our time on the earth today. Sort of drawing from that, feeling close to the ground, like we're flower bulbs in the ground, waiting to emerge later on in the spring. But for now, staying low and close to the ground, which also feels, I think, nurturing and protecting your heart a little bit. The change of year isn't, it can be a time of opportunity and excitement, and it can also be a time of kind of pain and reflection. So we want to make sure that we're nurturing both sides of that. So please find any kind of comfortable starting position, seated preferably, in any way that feels good, and feel free to have props, anything to make yourself feel supported. If you need a blanket or you need a sweater or something to start the class, please make sure you have that. When you're ready, you can lower your gaze and soften it gently or close your eyes if you like. And just feel the parts of your body that are pressing up against the earth or the chair. And take a moment to feel where you are right now in time and in space. You can start to pay attention to your breath without feeling that you need to change it in any way. And notice if you hear any sounds nearby, or are there any scents that you smell that help you to feel that you are right here, right now. So pick one thing that makes you feel present. That can be a scent, it can be a sound, it can be your breath, it can be the feeling of your body against the earth in some way. And make a note that if you start to feel like your mind is wandering or you're getting distracted during class, you can come back to that thing that helps ground you in this moment. Start to notice the length and the quality of your inhales and exhales. Start to lengthen the exhales a little bit if you can. We're going to take some arm movements to help us connect with our breath. So on your next inhale, take the full inhale to slowly raise your arms over your head, coming together to touch and pause your breath at the top, and then the full exhale to breathe out, bringing your hands down to your heart. And we're going to do this 3 times. So when you're ready again, taking the full inhale to bring your arms up over your head to meet, pausing there for a moment. And then taking your full, slow exhale to bring those hands together at your heart center. And if you'd like to do this faster or slower in accordance with your own breath, please do so. And one final time, your last inhale, slowly reaching your arms all the way up. And then exhaling to bring your hands to heart center. If you're seated on a cushion, I'm going to invite you to either remove that. We're going to do some stretching and some twisting to either side, or if you prefer to stay on that, please stay on it. So on your next inhale, raise your arms up and bring your right hand to the earth and your left hand reaching over to the right side on your exhale. Then your inhale, just open your chest a little bit, lifting your left hand, and exhale back over to the right side. We'll do that another 2 times. Inhaling and explore what feels good here. If it feels good to have a little twist, to reach up. As you exhale, maybe it feels good to fold forward a little bit or to the side. One more time, waving up. Exhaling over. And then on your next inhale, rise up and bring your left hand to the floor and exhale your right hand over. We'll do the same thing, 3 breaths here. Waving open, exploring what feelings feel good here. Maybe you really prefer the close to explore and take more time there. Inhaling open. Exhaling to close. And one last time, inhaling to open. Exhaling to reach your right arm over. Then we're going to inhale back to center. Come around and twist to the right. And feel free to lean back on that right hand as though you're going to reach for something behind you. And we'll do it on each side. So inhaling, reaching around for something to the left. Your hips can come up, they can twist. Just opening up the spine here. Inhaling, reaching around to the right. Inhaling, exhaling as we reach around to the left. One last time. Inhaling, reaching around to the right. And exhaling. Inhaling, reaching around to the left. Inhale back to center. We're just going to gently fold forward a little bit. Take a few breaths here. Notice where you fold today and what you feel. And don't feel that you have to reach a certain point or fold to a certain extent. Just go to what feels good. When you're ready, roll yourself back up. We're just going to fold forward again with a different switch of the legs. So switch your legs, inhale, and slowly fold yourself forward. You can walk your hands forward a little bit if that feels good. You can stay more upright and just bend your neck. Just notice what points feel good to explore today and to sink into a little bit. And when you're ready, slowly walk yourself up. And now we are just going to let our chin fall towards our chest. Take a breath or two there. And lift your head back up. And maybe look towards the sky. If it feels good, you can let your head fall a little bit back. Make sure it's safe and supported. When you're ready, come back to center. And exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. And just notice what happens over the course of a couple breaths. You can put your left hand out to the side if that feels good. And when you're ready, come back to center. And let your left ear drop towards your left shoulder. And notice what that feels like on this side. And if you'd like, you can put your right fingertips, reach them out to the floor. And when you're ready, bring your head back up. We're just going to take some shoulder rolls here. You can do some kind of twists to one side or the other if that feels good. Just moving your shoulders, getting them moving in their sockets. Whatever feels good to you, you can reach them forward, you can reach them back. Just waking up these muscles. When you're ready, I'm going to come over onto all fours into take some cat-cow poses. So go ahead and find a comfortable stance where you feel like your knees are hip width apart, your wrists are supporting your shoulders. And inhale, arch your back and look up. And exhale, round your back, tuck your head in. Push the ground away from you with your hands. We're just going to do a series of these on the rhythm of your own breath. Try to make them long, slow breaths. Take the full inhale to come into cat pose and the full exhale to come into cow pose. We'll take one last each. So inhaling, lifting your head, your tailbone, exhaling, rounding. Then inhale back to a neutral spine. And we're just going to take some side bends and stretches. So curving your right shoulder towards your right hip, coming back to center, squeezing your left shoulder to your left hip. And you might feel sensation in the side that's folding and squeezing. And you might feel sensation in the side that's lengthening. I'm just going to take another few slow side bends like this. And one last set on each side. And come back to center and see if you want any sort of shape that's maybe a mix of those. Maybe incorporates bending your knees more and rolling forward. Just explore what feels good, what kind of movement you want to do in accordance with your breath. You might want to take circles. You might want to kind of dive forward and round back, or round forward, dive back. You might want to incorporate your side bends, stretches. You might even want to incorporate your arms. So just explore a little bit here what it feels like to be moving your body in bigger ways. And if you want to do that with your breath, you can decide what feels good to you today. You might hear some pops and crackles. And when you're ready, come back towards a neutral spine. You might want to walk your hands a little bit forward, your toes a little bit back. We're going to come up just very briefly into a plank, and then just press yourself back into a downward facing dog. So make sure that your knees are not hyperextended in this position. You can let them bend softly. Make sure that your arms are actively working as though there's a blanket folded beneath the two hands and you're pushing that blanket away. And let your neck drop and just be easy. Take a couple breaths here. And then we're going to do a series of partial sun salutations here, staying really close to the ground. So when you're ready on an inhale, roll forward to a plank pose, and then lower down to the earth. You can just lower your knees. And then we're going to come up, lifting our chest to the sky, but not sinking our hips too deep so that we're protecting the sacroiliac joint. And then we're going to press back into a downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and out here. And then on your next inhale, come forward to plank. You can do a chaturanga. You can let your knees come down. Lift your chest to the sky. And then press back into downward facing dog. Take another breath here. And then one last time, inhale to plank, chaturanga or knees to the earth, lifting up into a modified upward facing dog. And then lifting your hips back into downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. When you're ready, you can slowly walk your feet forward. It's going to come into a really gentle forward fold here. You can hold your elbows if you like. Make sure your knees are gently, softly bent and your neck is gently hanging and there's no tension there. You can swing from side to side or bounce. And then we're going to come down slowly onto our seat. You can do that whatever way feels good to you. We're going to do some boats here. So you can do boat in whatever way feels appropriate to you today. The amount of rest you've had, the energy level that you have. You don't have to push yourself. You can be gentle. Or if it feels good to kind of get a burn in there, you can also do that. So really use this as an opportunity to listen to your body and what you can do to care for it, rather than judging it or punishing it or shoulding on it. So you can do boat with just your knees bent, resting on the ground. What we're going to do is hold it for a few breaths, then we're going to lower down and we're going to lift up. So you can do that exactly as I'm doing now, with your feet on the ground the whole time and just lowering down a little bit with your hips and lifting back up. If you like, you can bring your feet up to do boat, or if you want, you can stretch them out. So we're just going to take a couple breaths here. And then on your next inhale, lower down towards the ground. And inhale, bring them back up into boat. Inhale, lower down towards the ground. Exhale, back up into boat. Inhale, down towards the ground. Exhale, back up into boat. And then we're going to roll your legs to the left, your shoulders to the right. Come back up, legs to the right, chest looking left. And again, focusing on your breath. And again, your knees can be bent. They can even be on the ground. Come back up to center. And one last time. Chest right, legs left, center. Chest left, legs right. Come back to center. And let your feet go down. Let your torso come up. Rest a little bit. If you'd like, you can bring your feet into a little bit of a butterfly. And if it feels good, you can place your hands behind you and lift your chest to the sky. Just get a little bit of a stretch there for your abdominal muscles. And then come into an upward tabletop position with your hands a little wider than normal to a tabletop position. And exhale, you swing your hips back through your hands, to your hands, maybe to the ground. And we're going to come up again. We'll just do that another couple times. Exhaling your hips down. Inhale, lift back to tabletop. And one more time, exhaling your hips down to your hands and up and through to a tabletop. And then you can walk your feet back, lift your arms up, and come into a kneeling position. And we're going to do just a little bit of a stretch here, not a full camel, but just take a comfortable seat and lift your chest to the sky. You can have your hands on your back or your hands on your thighs or on your hips. Whatever feels good, whatever makes it feel like you're finding a bit of length there without crunching into your back. We're going to take a little bit of time for an inversion now. So I'll offer a couple of choices. You can do a prep for crow, or you can do a prep for a headstand. So we'll do both of those, and just know that you can go to whatever extent feels good. You don't have to do any kind of inversion if that doesn't feel good. You can stay here and rest. You can stretch from side to side. You can do the same breathing exercises we did at the beginning, raising your arms and bringing them down. If you do want to try a little bit of an inversion, go ahead and bring your arms wide in front of you where you would put them to do a plank. Then come up so that you're in a forward fold. Walk your feet a little bit closer. And for crow, you're going to try to put your knees towards the tops of your arms and just play with that, coming in and out, seeing where you might find a bit of a balance point or not. Rolling forward onto your hands, rolling back onto your feet. So just playing with a little bit of balance there. If you do want to go into crow, again, you do the same thing. Have your hands in a plank position, your knees to the tops of your upper half of your arm. And again, roll forward, look really far forward. Maybe try picking up one foot or the other. Taking a couple breaths there. And when you're ready, set your feet back down. And everyone can meet in a bit of a squat. You can play with what feels good there. Roll your wrists. You can bring your hands to heart center if that feels good. Just play around a little bit. And then we'll do a prep for headstand, which is dolphin pose. So coming into a tabletop position, bringing your hands together and your elbows right under your shoulders. Tuck the pinky that is next to the mat in. And then put your head, actually for dolphin pose, you don't have to put your head on the ground. That's only for doing an actual headstand. When you're ready from this tabletop position, but with the arms under your shoulders, the elbows under your shoulders, your hands crossed, then just push up like you would into downward facing dog. And notice, again, you can play a little bit with balance. What does it feel like to be a bit upside down? If you want to put your head down at this point, you can. Do a little prep for headstand. And just notice what it's like to see the world from this perspective. If at any point this feels unwise in your neck, please don't do it. When you're ready, you can come into any kind of resting pose. So you could lie down on your side, on your back. You can take child's pose. If you want to have a little prop for your back, you can take a pillow or a blanket and put that under your chest. And just stretch your arms out long if that feels good. You can also have them alongside your body, out to the sides, whatever feels good. And take a few breaths here to rest. And while you're here in this resting pose, this is a chance to think a little bit about how your practice is going. Are you listening to your body? Are you nurturing what it needs now? Are you judging what you should or shouldn't do? And is there anything you can let go of to fully meet your needs in this moment? When you're ready, you can slowly walk yourself back up to sitting, gently, carefully, and in whatever way feels intuitive to you, come down to sit and then lower yourself down to your back. If you have your hair up, you might want to take it down so that it doesn't create a bump under your neck and mess with your spinal alignment. So just notice what it feels like to be in this orientation to the earth. Maybe play with your foot placement. Do your feet need to be wider, closer together, closer to your hips or further away? And bring your feet up off the ground, hugging your knees in a little bit. And if it feels good to you, we can take a little bit of a shoulder stand. You can also stay here. Just try stretching your legs up, keeping them bent so that you're not hyperextending or stressing them, just seeing what that feels like. And if you have a strap, you can put it around your feet. Again, just to play with that a little bit. If you want to take a shoulder stand, place your hands on the ground, bring your feet past your head, hands to your hips in the back, the lower back, and then straightening out your legs. You want the weight here to be on your shoulders, not on your neck. Your neck should be weight-free, long, relaxed. You don't need to be straight up and down. That would be a really strange position for your neck. So we're just balancing on our shoulders. It doesn't matter what that looks like to anyone else, as long as it feels right to you. When you're ready to come out of that, you can bring your hands back to the ground and slowly roll down your back. And see how slowly you can do this. What happens in your spine, in your abs, and your arms to do this. To see if you can come down one vertebra at a time. And then you can bend your knees. We're going to just take a few rolling bridges. So set your feet up in a comfortable place, maybe a little bit closer to your hips. And when you're ready, press into your feet. And then inhale, lift your hips. You can let your head slide back a little bit if that happens. That's normal. And exhale, roll down. And just like we did at the beginning, you can take the full inhale to lift your hips up. If it feels right for you, you can pause at the top of your breath. And then exhale all the way down slowly with your breath. If you need to make any adjustments, you're always welcome to do that. And then on the last one, inhale up, and we're just going to stay here for a little bit. Take a few breaths. Notice what you feel. Make any adjustments to make sure that you're not hyperextending or straining in any way. Your muscles working is okay, but you don't want anything that feels sharp or uncomfortable. Just breathe in and out. Make sure your neck is relaxed and long. Notice those big muscles on the back of your body, how they work to move you around the world, support you in these positions. They're really powerful, and so are you. When you're ready, on an exhale, slowly lower down. Maybe move your knees from side to side, or you can hug them in. Notice what feels good to you. It might feel good to have your arms out to the side or overhead. Just explore what your body is asking for. And sometimes that means if you don't know, you can just give it some options and see which ones you like more than others. And maybe you want to stay in one of those for a while. You can try bringing your neck and your head into it, your gaze. If you're doing something side to side, you can try the other side. If you're not, you can try another position, or you can stay in the one that you're in. And when you've had enough exploration to kind of move those joints a little bit after the bridge poses, go ahead and find a comfortable resting pose. So that can be similar to bridge, so lying on your back with your feet to the edges of the mat and letting your knees fall in to each other. You could find a comfortable spot on your side. You can go into Shavasana. It might feel good to put something under your knees there, like a blanket or some pillows, especially if your lower back doesn't feel great in Shavasana. That can alleviate the pressure on your lower back. Once you get your legs settled, you might want to give everything a little bit of a gentle wiggle. You might want to take a finger just to that spot between your forehead and your forehead between your eyes and just rub some circles there. Tracing and pressing in the outline of your brows, maybe the eye sockets under your eyes, maybe your temple or your jaw muscles, giving those a bit of a massage. And then you might want to just put your hands into your head, give that a bit of a scalp massage. If you have hair, it might feel good to just pull it a little bit, very gently. See if you can find the spot where, if you were a puppet suspended from a string, that would be the part that pulls your spine up and straight when you're standing up. When you've done a little bit of that, let your arms go into whatever feels restful for them. If you want, you can tuck your shoulder blades down your back. You can have your arms in any position that feels good. We'll just take a few minutes here to allow our bodies to integrate the movement that we've done today, the exploration. And while you lie here and absorb that, know that at this moment you are safe, you are deeply loved, and the world is a richer place because you are in it, exactly as you are today. If you are ready to come out of your Shavasana, you can begin by rubbing the pad of your thumb against your other fingers, starting to wake up some sensation. If you would like to stay in Shavasana for longer, please do so. There's no rush to get up and go back into the day. Please rest. If you would like to stay there, I will just talk through closing. If anyone would like to sit up and close with me, please do so slowly, gently, starting to move fingers and toes, maybe taking a stretch with your arms if that feels right, and then slowly bringing yourself up to sitting in a comfortable position. You could bring your cushion back, you can sit against the wall, whatever feels right. And then soften your gaze. You can close your eyes if you like that. And notice what it feels like to be here in this world, in this space, in this moment. You might want to return to the breath, the scent, the sound, the feeling of your body against the earth, which first grounded you at the start of class. And notice how you feel now in comparison to then. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I know that January is a popular time to take stock and think about making changes, but I would also offer that you can do that every month. There's a new moon. You can think about what things you'd like to leave in the previous cycle, what things you'd like to include in your life to support you. And I hope that as you go forward for the next day or week or year, you can continue to practice the things that we talked about in this class, recognizing your needs, listening to yourself, and doing things you can do to nurture and support yourself. Thank you so much.